you ready for what?
I got so many stories.
Oh,
you're excited. You're excited. Well, that's a laugh because
hey.
not only that, but you're excited.
I'm super excited. Tonight is going to be a lot of fun, and it's
For many reasons,
for
but
many reasons. Not because it just got ridiculously cold out, by the way.
yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah,
That's
not digging that.
No.
But, was it 28 degrees right now in
not
Baltimore?
good. Not good.
Not fun.
I can only imagine what it's like in Vermont.
We'll find out very
Yes.
soon. We'll find out very, very soon. But yeah, great guest tonight. I can't wait to have.
What was it, about a year and a
Nora
half ago?
and Adam on from Lost Lantern Whiskey. This is a great story, and people, if you haven't seen yet, if we're small fans of Lost Lantern, this isn't everything we own. P.S. By the way,
I know, but I don't think we can drink much more in a stream.
But no, this is just a little bit of a showcase for you. So yes, we have Nora and Adam on from Lost Lantern Whiskey. They're going to be joining us in a couple minutes. We are getting ready on Friday to start the 21090 Advent calendar, which is really cool. So you see it there. So every day we'll be throwing out a new whiskey.
Beautiful.
2 of them. We have a Todd calendar and Andy calendar.
Yes. With our Patreon members.
Our Patreon members, which is going to be a lot of fun.
That was a lot of work. We compiled, 48 bottles of whiskey into 1 ounce samples. I counted out, and it was 1,152 bottles, I believe, that we labeled, collated, packed, shipped all across the country because we love our patrons.
We do.
We do.
Appreciate you all.
And it's going to be fun. It's going to be so much fun.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. People are starting to fill in. So
yeah, like and share it out.
Grab yourself something, keep you warm. We're going to bring our guest up in a second. Anything else that you want to?
No, Friday we will go live Friday for about a half an hour to kick off the Whiskey Advent calendar, December 1st. So we have like you said, so probably about a half an hour. We'll do that throughout the 24 days. Not every day we'll go live, but probably I'm hoping for maybe once or twice a week outside of our normal live stream.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Do that for a half hour to drink with you guys the expression of the day, so to speak.
Expression of the day.
The pour of the day, the sample of the day, whatever you want to call it.
We're gonna have multiple pours tonight, which is gonna be fun.
I can't wait.
So quick story just to lead up to Nora and Adam coming on. It was about 2 years ago. I think that I ended up getting a bottle of the Spirit Works Rye and the Starlight Bourbon online, and I tried them and said, Todd, this stuff is legit good, like really
I was
good.
Like, what are you talking about? Lost Lantern.
You're like, sure, well, okay, it's fine. Never heard of them
but
before.
I was like, Lost Lantern is a Spirit Works, or is it, what is this?
So
I didn't understand it, and now I do.
So and now he's in the know. But both of them ended up making our rye and bourbons of the year in our top 5. They were that good, and from that point on, I was like, I'm gonna collect this one. Maybe I'll grab this one. Next thing you know,
we finished some bottles too.
Yes,
that we don't have up here.
So, long story short, they quickly became favorites of mine and then Todd's, which is great, and kind of jumped on board. But we found out as we kind of progressed on this journey, they were kind of a lot like us and doing things a little bit differently, which is why their story is so cool. And so without further ado, from Vergennes, Vermont, where it's probably much, much colder than it is here in Baltimore, Nora and Adam from Lost Lantern Whiskey. Welcome.
Hey, guys.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
Well, thank you for coming.
We're excited you guys are here. So, so again, welcome. And we hate to do this to you, but we're going to do it anyway. What's that? Well, we have to get it out of the way. We're going to put the spotlight on you. Introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about Lost Lantern. Have fun with it. And then we'll get into some good stuff. So, so Nora and Adam, the spotlight is on you.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be here. We're Adam and Nora, the co-founders of Lost Lantern, and we are a whiskey company, but we are, as they said, a little bit of a different kind of a whiskey company. We're what's called an independent bottler, which means that we aren't a distillery. We never will be. As you can see, we still have barrels behind us. but we didn't make them ourselves. We bought them from small distilleries all around the country, and we put out whiskey and tell you exactly where we got it from to help you discover places you wouldn't know about otherwise.
Love it.
And I will say, the great thing about that is, and I think the name Lost Lantern kind of is, I guess, a connotation of what you're trying to do, right? Spotlight sort of distilleries and great whiskey that maybe you have never heard of or tried or been exposed to. Is that kind of what you were thinking with that name, Lost Lantern?
Exactly. Yeah, our tagline is shining a light on the independent spirit. So, yeah, exactly.
I didn't see that either.
Because, I mean, there are 2,600 distilleries now across the U.S., and so we wanted to help people sift through all of the places out there. And so this guy, especially these days, spends a lot of time on the road, visiting distilleries, talking to founders, finding the best of the best out there. And then we put them out either as single casks, or we blend them either across distillery, or we blend multiple barrels together from a single distillery. So playing with all kinds of Lost Lantern perspectives on American whiskey.
That's so. One of my questions was, and you mentioned it, Adam going out to, around the country. Is it both of you going? Is it just sometimes him or you? How does that work? How do you make your plans to say, you know what, we're going to go to this area of the country, and I think I like to visit these distilleries. I've heard things or I've read something. How does that process work? How do you find how do you find a Still Austin before they're Still Austin? How do you find a Corbin Cash before they're Corbin Cash? Or still, help me understand how that works.
Yeah.
I think I'll let you answer that. But I want to say I'm not traveling as much because we have these barrels behind us. And so I'm actually driving the forklift and rolling barrels and
nice.
Dumping things. So I'm here, but
got it.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, it started when almost 5 years ago now, when we lived in New York City and we were both working in the whiskey industry in different ways. I was a journalist. I was reviewing whiskey from around the country for Whiskey Advocate. Nora was working at one of the best wine and spirit stores in the country. And we saw that there were all these great distilleries that were out there. And eventually we decided we wanted to do this model to help people discover them, to find this great whiskey. And the way that we started out doing that was quitting our jobs, moving out of New York City, putting our stuff into storage and taking an 8-month road trip around the United States to visit distilleries, to see who was doing what, to visit places we knew and places we didn't know,
right,
and understand what they were doing. So that was a great way to get things started. By the time we made it back to Vermont, our car was very heavily laden with whiskeys. It could barely get over a speed bump anymore. And since then, we still visit distilleries a lot. As Nora said, I do a lot of them on my own now. But it will often be an area where there are things that are really interesting going on, or a place that we visited 5 years ago that, like Still Austin or Andalusia in Texas, that were relatively young the first time we visited them, and had gotten to the spot where it was like a couple of years ago they had a lot of potential, and I bet now it's really, really good. And
sure,
go down to revisit and see, we need to tell more people about this.
Yeah. So you also do a lot of computer research ahead of time, looking for specific factors that generally feel like they're consistent with what we're doing. And we also ask distillers who their other favorite distillers are that we may not have heard of before. Go. So that's helpful.
Great.
They'll know what's in their backyard.
Yeah. We want to show off whiskeys that are excellent from all across the country, but just being good isn't necessarily enough.
Sure.
We want to show off whiskeys that have a real sense of place, that taste like where they're from.
Yes.
They're not going to taste like they're from Kentucky unless that whiskey is actually from Kentucky. It's going to taste like it's from California or New
Texas.
York or Texas.
I think you mentioned, Adam, you don't want to have a Kentucky whiskey that's, distilled outside of Kentucky just because it's Kentucky whiskey, right? If you're in California, show me the expression to say, so why are you different, right? I mean, you can get Kentucky whiskey everywhere, right? But you can't get a Lost Lantern, a Still Austin or a Corbin Cash or Stillworks or Balcones. It doesn't taste like a Kentucky whiskey. Right. My question to you, though, is when you go to these distilleries and pitch the idea of an independent bottler, do they understand that? Because we had David Souza from Corbin Cash on a few weeks ago, and he mentioned what we were talking about. He's like, I didn't know what they were. I wasn't sure I liked it. But once they came here and I met them and saw them, I thought it was the greatest idea ever. And I was all about it. Is that difficult getting into, or do you have enough connections where now they know who Lost Lantern is?
It was harder earlier on, especially with bourbon and rye distillers. One of the fun things about being an independent bottler is we're the first one to do this in the United States. but there have been independent bottlers in Scotland
UK.
doing exactly this for 200 years.
Yeah.
So when we go to places that are making American single malt and owe a lot to the Scotch tradition, they know exactly what we're doing, and they're like, "Oh, cool! Finally, someone is doing this here. We've been waiting for this." It's with bourbon and rye places that it always takes more explanation and telling them the value of it. But it is often like the conversation that I had with David when I visited Corbin Cash last year, where like at first they're like curious and interested and a little bit like, why would we do this? Why would we trust you with our whiskey? And then by the end they're like, yeah, this is cool. When can I send you some barrels?
Right. I mean, we basically spend our time talking about why they're awesome and why people should drink their whiskey. And I think as soon as people really process that, then it becomes a much easier conversation.
Well, I think you guys are also doing something that is really cool in the fact that you're showcasing some things that are these unicorns within these distilleries where you're like, wow, I didn't realize that this distillery could produce something that tasted like this. You had a Tom's Foolery. Like I had only tried one expression was their baseline. And I was like, it was pretty good. But wow, all of a sudden you found a honey barrel. Dad's Hat.
Dad's
was a great
Hat. We're not huge
well.
Dad's Hat. I mean, we've had it, okay. And I was like, and we tried your Dad's Hat. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. And I loved it. So I love that you do that. You also expose us to maybe. So if Lost Lantern, the story here is if Lost Lantern puts their name on it, it's cool.
Well, I think it's come to now. We know that if you guys are doing
don't let your biases get you into saying, oh, I don't like Dad's Hat, like I did, right? And then try it and like, God dang, this is good. Really good. And so I love that you do that as well. Not only do you expose people to distilleries maybe that you don't know about it, but maybe the ones you thought you did not like or whatever, had an expression you didn't love. No, that's, let's Lost Lantern lead you to that sort of a holy grail of juice that, you would love, I would say.
Should we pour something?
I think so. Enough blathering.
Todd will talk all night.
I will.
But that's why usually when I offer him a drink is so he stops talking.
That's true.
So So what should we pour first?
Well, I'm biased. So our only single barrel pick that we've ever done is through Still Austin. And we know a lot about them. We're very good friends with them. Andy's been down to the Rick House. Can we start there maybe?
Let's do it.
I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that was actually, if we were to taste all of these whiskeys, which I don't know if we want to, that was actually our first pick because it's a lower proof.
There you
go.
It's
the perfect one.
How did you do that? I saw you were on another podcast and you mentioned they brought up the point. I think it's 3 point. We know that they are in Texas, and for us when we did ours and down, everything was above 116. They do slow water reduction. We get it, and they get it down to 116. But when you tasted this barrel, was it? I guess you didn't know the proof of it at the time. You didn't know what it was. You were tasting it right out of the barrel and just knew it was. Yeah.
They send us samples and we have the information, but we taste as blind as we can when we're tasting across, because we want it to be as kind of
unbiased.
And consistent over time. So we taste them multiple times and we want to not know what they are. But if we like the same sample 3 or 4 or 5 times, then that's when we go forward with it. So we're not picking on site. We always bring samples or have them send samples back to Vermont with us. So it's always the same.
That's
the
cool.
same setting.
Yeah. Well, that's what we did, right? Although I sipped through a bunch there, we brought some back. What I liked when I read that you guys go out and you personally vet even before you sip on a whiskey. I think that's really cool because part of what we've fallen in love with in this whiskey world is that the community is very collaborative and embrace of each other. It's like that everyone's rooting for each other's success, which is really cool. So the stories of the people who are making the whiskey and putting in the blood, sweat, and tears to deliver the product is what is really fun about it, because you buy people before product, right? That's just kind of the way it always is. And Nora, you were in sales, you know how that goes. So it's like one of those things where that's stories sell. And then if you have something beautiful to back it up, it's a recipe for a win. So I love that you guys are going out and visiting these distilleries.
I love this single barrel. One, if you would have blind this, I would never have said this is 103 proof. First of all, not in a bad way. It's just a much more viscous and I get dark cherry.
Todd
big
also
time
drinks before saying cheers.
I'm sorry, I do.
You'll get very used to him before the end of the night. Trust me.
Well, Adam's drinking too, I think. Or at least
he saw you drinking.
Cheers.
In my head, I was like, oh, I guess we're not cheersing.
God dang it. How rude of me. What a horrible guest I am. I'm so sorry. Cheers. My apologies.
I'll just keep pouring him. He'll be all right.
Cheers, Andrew. And sorry. I love the nose. I love the nose on a lot of Still Austin's bourbons. For this, I get a big dark cherry, super viscous. I don't know. What do you get? It's so syrupy,
I need
sweet,
some time.
And the cinnamon, I think, builds. As you drink it, the finish is real long. I absolutely love that about this. It's the perfect, expression for, Still Austin to showcase its, Texas whiskey, right? How is it? Doesn't, it's not your typical Texas whiskey. I hate saying that. And I know everybody says, oh, it's the heat. Yeah, but I guess it ages differently than Kentucky. Well, it's not quicker. It's just differently, right?
It's hot as hell down.
Yes, it's hot as hell.
It moves quick. You're not going to have many 13 years expressions Still Austin. It'll be 20% left in the barrel.
Or nothing.
Or nothing. Yeah. So it'll be very small.
Yeah. And I don't think this is a 4-year-old, and I don't think they've gone much past 4 or 5 yet.
That's what ours was when we went down there. Now I think Nancy might have some stock that she can get into that's a little bit bigger, maybe. I don't know, but
makes sense.
And she really helped us when we did that pick. We have a good relationship with Nancy. I mean, we absolutely love her. And I said, Nancy, we're going to actually they're letting us go to the Rick House, and they don't let a lot of people do that, and that was a whole ordeal in itself because it's not right there. He had to drive out there, and he said, Nancy, give us some tips. And she's like, go this way. The most, I want to give all their tips away, but she gave us like the exact map as to where to go with John. And so we just followed her lead, and we figured, well, we couldn't fail then, right? So we picked, we think, she's got a mental really great bottle.
There she is. She has a mental roadmap right there.
There she is.
Ears are ringing. So what's up? What's up, Nancy?
Nancy, we're just talking about how great you are, and we have the Blue Corn Whiskey Bottle and Bond coming from Mr. Great Shot this week, which we can't. We're just big fans of everything they do. Will there be another expression possibly from Lost Lantern and Still Austin in the future? That's my question, possibly. I mean, would you like to do another one, or do you not typically go back so soon?
No, well, we actually generally buy more than one barrel when we buy things. So
there you go.
We may or may not be looking at the barrels right now that are sitting here.
All right.
So that's a big yes, ladies and gentlemen. That's a big yes. So then you buy the stock and bring it to Vermont and age it there. So my question then, how does that change? I mean, you're testing them, sure. That's an interesting. So how long would you keep onto that barrel? It'll age then in Vermont as opposed to Texas, and that's going to change how this whiskey matures, I assume, right?
We don't age it for that much longer here if we can help it. And actually, one of the great things about Vermont for us is that it's real cold up here. It's 19 degrees out right now, and it's warmer than that in the warehouse, but it's still pretty cool. So the whiskey doesn't actually change that much in a short period of time, and that's tough for some of the distilleries that are up here who want to put something out and don't want to wait until it's 10 years old. But for us, it's great because we want something from Texas to taste like it's from Texas, or from Arkansas to taste like it's from Arkansas. So we're generally pretty happy with slow maturation. It'll change a little bit, but not in a crazy way.
Yeah. We honestly haven't seen that much of a difference because we do have samples right from when we receive things, and see a little change if it's in a barrel for a year or two, but a couple of months, it's unlike in a place like Texas.
Yeah.
It's nothing. Yeah.
And we got a couple barrels recently that we got them when they were like 8.5 years old. And I'm like, if we wait another year and a half, that'll turn 10. And that's pretty cool. So I'm
very nice.
That's great.
Very nice. I'm excited to see who you're going to introduce us to next. That's one of the fun things about when you said, Nora, there's 2,600 distilleries and counting now. We cut our teeth home brewing. So we started this channel by
doing home brewing videos.
And I think about maybe 6-7 years ago, it was like, my goodness, there's already 5,000 breweries. And now it's like, what, 9,000, something
it's
crazy.
Ridiculous.
It's hard to keep track of. And we said eventually craft distilling is going to be like craft beer in a way where
I think we may already be there.
Well, I think you're starting to see all those upstarts that had to do rum and gin and vodka and all kinds of wilds as they let their initial offerings and runnings of bourbon and whiskey and rye kind of just sit, are now starting to get really good. So it's fun that you're able to go out and kind of put these on people's radar because it's such a unique thing to do because everyone's still in a lot of ways, unlike beer, goes after the big boys. It's like BTAC's coming out or something like they're clamoring for those allocated unicorns that are going to cost them $10,000. And like, I love the fact that you're finding things like, hey, put this in a blind and they're going to win everything. So that's a really neat thing that I think you guys are bringing to the whiskey community.
Thank you. Yeah.
So there was a question. Normally I get a lot of my Lost Lanterns from Sealbacks or an online provider. Joe, I think, said, get Lost Lantern in Maryland. We live in Maryland. We have a bunch of people in Maryland that watch us. Is there ever a time where we'll see a Lost Lantern in Maryland or distributed widely sort of on the shelves, or is that not in the sort of future for us?
Yes, in the more distant future. I mean, in the short term, it's mostly Sealbox or through our website. We have a store that fulfills there. Okay. We are starting to go into stores and bars in New York and California to kind of build out what it looks like to sell Lost Lantern in that context. But over the next few years, yes, there are plans to start getting into additional markets. Basically as we build our team and as we build volume, because single casts are difficult to scale in that way. But as we start doing what we call our single distillery series, which are mini blends that we make from one of these distilleries that we love, that allows us to expand our reach and what states we're in directly.
That's awesome. Great news.
That's great. And Nancy actually had a question. She said, Nora and Adam, mind if I ask your warehousing characteristics are like there in Vermont? What are your seasonal humidity and temp conditions like there? I would imagine it's very gentle.
It is very mild all of the time. I mean, it is below 50 degrees roughly half of the year, and it gets above not 80, like maybe 3 weeks cumulative, maybe more these days. But like in our opinion, is a very difficult climate to try to age something for its entire maturity because it just takes so long. It's colder than Scotland. And you know how long things can take there. But for our purposes, we love it because it allows us to not have big changes come when we bring the whiskey into our space.
That makes perfect sense. Because that's one of those things where in still Austin, it changes so quick.
Well, it's going to help when you're starting to blend too, right? So you buy the expression based off of where it's at, right? And you bring it for Vermont, and then you know that you can safely keep it in your warehouse without that profile changing too much, right? Is that the idea here? And then you can make them. So the blending. So tomorrow, though, let's get into that. You're releasing the winter seal. Help us understand, Andy. It's tomorrow on Sealbacks. I assume that's where it's going to go.
If someone can put the link to Sealbacks and Lost Lantern in the chat, we'd appreciate it. So people can go get ready.
Or your website, or how? I know I'm on the email list, so I'm hoping to get that early email list. Is it tomorrow? And then we can all go crazy because there's some great expressions. Maybe you guys can tell us what we're dropping tomorrow that we all can go out and try to get, right?
Yeah, and I think either place is fine. I mean, the best thing is to sign up on our newsletter because we send out an advanced blast, at least for our website, and password protect the website for an hour so that people that are on our newsletter can get early access. They'll also get a link to Sealbox if that's how you order. So we try to make it easy for you.
Great.
Do you want to run through the winter collection?
Yeah, so the Lost Lantern winter collection launches tomorrow. I see someone in the one you just highlighted.
Yes. I'm on it.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah. He's saying I am a huge Kings County fan, so they know I'm all over that one. But go ahead.
So tomorrow we're launching 4 whiskeys. One of them is our first release from Kings County. It's called Brooklyn Bakery. It's a blend of 8 different barrels of their 5- and 6-year-old bourbon that we put together. We also have a 4-cask blend from St. George Spirits, which is in California. It's the oldest independent craft distillery in the country. They've been going for more than 40 years. And that whiskey is distilled from hopped beer. So it tastes a little different than the single malts a lot of us are familiar with. But it's
great.
really
Which one was that? Which one was the hot beer?
St. George.
St. George.
That's
Okay.
Mountain Meadow from St.
Mountain Meadow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I want that one too now.
Yeah.
Yes, that's really interesting.
Sure. And then we have a pair of what we call multi-distillery blends, which means that the two of us blended whiskey from a range of distilleries together. It's a pair called Flame and Shadow, and they highlight the growing smoked single malt tradition in the U.S. So Shadow is peated single malt from Cedar Ridge, Boulder Spirits, and McCarthy's. And Flame is a blend of mesquite smoked single malt from Whiskey Del Bach and Santa Fe.
Wow. So how peated are they? Are we talking peated Scotchish levels or no? It's more of a smoke. What are we looking at?
We decided to move it more towards the lightly peated arena. It definitely
Medium.
has smoke there. It
Okay.
is not, you're not going to miss it, but especially on the nose for me, it's a nice entry point for people who may have gotten knocked over the head by something like Lefroy, which we both adore.
Okay.
But I think it also, because it's American peated single malt, it has New American Oak on two of the three casks. So some of those vanilla and butterscotch flavors that American palates are used to are present. So we think that it shows kind of what that peated single malt looks like here, rather than a more traditional Scottish peated single malt.
Very cool.
Yeah, mesquite smoked single malt is something that we're super excited about, and it is very much the American kind of response to peated single malt.
I can't wait for.
And so you mentioned
that's Santa Fe Spirits, right?
And Whiskey Del Bach. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Can't wait for that.
So what are the yields on these? Are we talking? You said it's a blend, right? So we have how many barrels are we talking about for each of these? I know there's
3 and 2-ish. It's not that many bottles.
It's not that many bottles. Okay.
We made mini blends. Because that's what ended up tasting the best to us. And also smoked single malt, we're still learning what the demand is in the US. It's been high and then low and then high again for us. So we like to do a smaller amount, and we'd rather leave people asking for more than make a monster blend. So
that's cool. And Todd, can you read that? That's a question from Nancy.
Yes, Nora and Adam have to ask, do you do any slow water reduction or use petite eau fibles in your blends? I don't know what that is. The last one, you can read it. I don't need to say that. Nancy Fraley is asking you a question that's above my dialect.
That was on purpose.
Yeah, I saw that because you couldn't say it
I
either.
know what it means. I don't know how to say it either.
Thank you, Adam. I appreciate that.
Fables is how I just go straight full American, no French.
There you go. Thank you. I should have done that.
If I put it on the teleprompter, Burgundy will read it. So I just
you set me up there, can't turn. I knew it. Daggone it. Yes, they do have a Frey Ranch. Sorry, we'll get to that, but go ahead.
We'll let them
the answer to that is we sometimes do slow water reduction, but we start with it at cast strength. In some of our blends, we just do cast strength. But if we find that we can't get the component parts to integrate, we will do slow water reduction and see kind of where things start to meld together. But we generally try to keep it as high proof as we can, because we know that that's generally what people are looking for from us. Is higher proof. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, and Joe Graves, there is a Frey Ranch. I don't know if it's still available. The Frey Ranch.
A lot of them sell out. You got to.
I don't think that's available anymore. That's gone.
It is still available.
Is it? Oh, okay, good. Yeah. Jump on that.
We have one of the mini blends that we made still available called Soaring Spice, where we it was 4 barrels that specifically bring out the baking spice side of Frey Ranch.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's exciting.
And that's one of our biggest releases that we've done in the last few years. So we knew that every time we've done a Frey Ranch single cask, it sells out in like a day.
Yep.
So we wanted to do something that was a bit bigger.
Got it.
And one of the really fun things for us to the slow water reduction is that we learn so much from the different distilleries that we work with. We get access to different approaches and styles from all across the country. Including a number of places that have worked with Nancy at some point. Mm-hmm. So we have definitely had a couple single casks that were that use slow water reduction even before we got them.
There you go.
It's fascinating.
Well, Nancy's giving that her seal of approval, guys. That should sell out quickly. We're all going to be on that, I think, tomorrow.
No, I think it's going to be fun. So You said that, Adam, you do a lot of research too, like ahead of time, like before you even like hop in a car or jump on a plane to go. What are you looking for? What characteristics are you looking for? Not just in the production, but like the overall like culture and atmosphere of like a distillery that you want to work with.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. I think a good excuse to maybe drink some Corbin Cash.
Yes. Way to go, Andy. Way to go. I knew you were good for something. There it is. Oh, they got to work with her.
You dropped it. Oh, God.
It broke. What do you want to do? Gotta get it open.
I can't take you
It's
anywhere.
my bottle. It's my whiskey. If I want to, I can drink it all. All right, Andy? I bought this, not you. All right. So Corbin Cash. Sorry, Adam.
Yeah. So Corbin Cash is one of the smaller distilleries that we've worked with, and I feel like it's also one of the ones that's really started to blow up in the last year or so. So they are a distillery that's attached to a more than century-old sweet potato farm in the Central Valley of California. And for 100 years, they've been growing sweet potatoes in the summer and rye in the winter as a cover crop to protect the soil. And that 20 years ago or so, maybe 15 years ago, they started distilling that rye into whiskey. And it's completely heirloom rye, completely grown right there on their family farm, aged for 7 years in the heat of the Central Valley. And those are the kind of stories that we look for, a place that has a unique perspective, that's doing something different or is really rooted in where it is. And I love that. And Frey Ranch is like that as well.
He's a good guy. Dave's a good guy.
Yeah.
Did you try the sweet potato liqueur, by the way, when you were out there?
I did, and I want to. One of our team members is a former mixologist who's on the West Coast, and I really want to come up with some kind of like sweet potato spirit.
Yes.
It was
so good,
so bloody good. I said, "Wait a minute."
Yeah. We were drinking the week before Thanksgiving.
Delicious elixir. This is fantastic. It was so good. Yeah. Absolutely loved it. But all the expressions that we had from Corbin Cash were great. But like again, good people. So yeah, let's. So
I think on this one, thank you, Jordan, a 7-year. Is that correct? 7-year Merced rye, 129.8 proof. Yeah. So when you went out there, tell us that process, because hopefully Andy's going out there early this year to pick a single barrel. Give Andy some pointers as to what we should be looking for when you go out there. I know it's a small operation, but how was the process of picking this single barrel? How did you get to it? Was it right away, or did you go through a bunch?
I think one of the really interesting things about them in particular, and other farm distilleries like them, is that they are using completely grown on their farm. And just like with wine, with grapes, there are effectively vintages where whiskeys made in 1 year from grain on that 1 year will taste different. So all the ones that we liked the most, I believe, were all distilled in 2014.
Take a note of that, Andy.
I will. Like because you're so right, because
he talked about that.
He spent so much time talking about that. How the terroir is not just a word for wine, but it's very relative in the whiskey world too. And too much rain, not enough rain, too much heat, not enough, whatever it may be, just the way it affects a vintage is going to affect the grains that are coming too, especially with the Merced rye, which I thought was really cool. So 2014, write that down in your illegible ticket scratch.
Yes, let me get that down. 2014.
Yeah, so we can.
And also, if you go out there and if he likes you, he'll take you.
He said he likes us, but who knows?
This is how you'll know for sure.
People lie a lot.
It's true.
He'll take you to the sweet potato packing plant. Like,
cool.
I've been to a million distilleries. You've been to a ton of distilleries. Guessing you've never been to a sweet potato packing plant.
Nope.
Can say I have not.
Nope. Certainly haven't.
Cool. It's pretty cool seeing the giant machines that like wash all the potatoes and send them like down the chute. And it's just a completely different kind of thing awesome. I've ever seen. So go check that out.
That sounds cool. Yeah, I would. He was a good guy. And we look for things different, good people like you can strike up a relationship with. Same thing with Still Awesome. The people out there were great. I'm going to put a distillery on your radar. Which I'm sure you already know, but they do American single malt really well. They're right here in our backyard. Old Line Spirits. If you haven't heard of them yet, give them a look up. Max and Arch, great story.
We love them.
Cut their teeth by learning the Scotch style out in Washington State. Great guys,
great single malts,
good stuff, and they're making some really good juice.
Amazing single malts. So
put that on your radar. You guys are you're looking at me like you already know.
Yeah, we know.
So who knows?
They probably have a barrel of them behind them. They're like, we know, Andy.
No, not that bad. Not that bad.
We know of them. We haven't visited yet. I in fact have an email from them in my inbox that how they wanted to have a call, I think, today, and I just didn't get back.
You talk about, right, the people, the culture. These guys
they're awesome.
They're amazing. Just once you get to know them, you'll see about like their passion for what they're doing, the culture they have over there, and sort of, I think you'd fall in love with them like we do. And they're in our backyard too, similar to Sagamore, but a much smaller scale, right? So, you know, we love what they're doing over there. Getting back to Corbin Cash, what I love about this expression is, you know, I get a lot of chocolate on the nose, and I get that. To me, this is one of my favorite ryes of the year. I love the Merced barrel proof that we have over there, which is great, and it's fantastic, and I love that equally. But this is just something special. I mean, to me, then you drink it, and you get that sort of, I get like a sweet marzipan and like sweet cake, and then it's very sweet and spicy. Rye spice comes through. I just love everything about this. Is what rye whiskeys I think should taste like all the time.
I love hearing that, and we think that's true too. And the interesting thing now is that some of these smaller distilleries now have whiskey that's of an age comparable to a lot of what you're seeing from Kentucky or Tennessee or Indiana. Like, you're not going to see any 14-year-old, but you're also not going to pay the prices that you pay for a 14-year-old rye these days,
right?
Either, but like 7 years old is a pretty long time.
Yeah,
heck yeah.
We talked about that today.
That's so good
because I don't want to throw people's names out there, but there was an article by someone whose name rides with Red Rinnick, and talked about how. See, I didn't say names.
No, you didn't.
But
I don't know what you're talking about.
There wasn't a lot of good whiskey
in 2023.
And I'm thinking,
worst whiskey year ever.
And I said to myself, that doesn't make any sense. I think what we're seeing is that exactly what you just said. Whiskey now is getting like craft beer was before. You go into any really local microbrewery and you're going to get a good beer somewhere.
There's some bad ones.
There's not great, but you're going to get some, because everyone's game has kind of been leveled off, and it's raising the bar. So we're now in a world of a lot of good whiskey. So I think the challenge for someone like Lost Lantern, for you all, is to find something unique and different that stands out in a world of already good whiskey, because I think there's been plenty of good offerings this year, but to stand out, you had to put something on the shelf that's even more amazing. So it's kind of my 2 cents on the bad whiskey year. Yeah, this is my rant. I got off my soapbox.
I'll say this: we didn't try 900 whiskeys, but we've tried maybe 100, and there've been a lot of good whiskey we tried this year. And I don't need to try 900 whiskeys because I know where to go. And Lost Lanter's one of them. Anyway, there's my end of. I spoke. Okay, end of rant. Sorry. Anyway, so that was Corbin Cash. We had David on last week. We love him. We're hopefully doing something with him. So we've got 2014 and Sweet Potato Factory, Andy. Check.
Yes, so we're good.
We're good. There you go.
And can I ask, did you discover Corbin Cash on your own, or did you find them through us? Do you remember?
I found them. So I found them. The first expression I had from them was a sample from a whiskey tube, Sean Whiskey Wars. He had sent us. We're not in California. I'd never heard of them. And so I had that expression, and then I saw that Sealback started putting them out, and then yours came right after that. So I got yours and the Merced Rye Barrel Proof. I actually bought the small one by mistake. I didn't know it was not the big one. I was like, shoot, I paid a lot more money for a smaller thing, and I need the bigger bottle. But then I saw it, so I bought yours and the bigger bottle. I fell in love immediately. And again, this Corbin Cash Lost Lantern will be on my top 10. It may be one of my favorite ryes of the year. It's that good. And I'm not saying you're on there. It was in my top 5, and so blinding, and it's amazing. I love it. I love everything about it. And I'll stop talking about it. But
it's one of our favorite ryes we've done.
Yes,
for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I hadn't heard. Again, we
didn't know of Spirit Works before we got Lost Lantern. Like that was Brickellen didn't know before. So there was some that even Tom's Foolery, like I did not. I had passed it, never gotten anything by them. So there was a lot of things that I said, well, if you guys are going to put your name on it, I'm betting because of what I've had before, it's going to be good. So
what should we go to next, real quick? I want to say something about Starlight, because we've tried so much Starlight and a lot of Starlight finishes, so we know of Starlight, right? And so when you see a bottle from Lost Land from Starlight, it piques our interest. I have to be honest. When Andy had this bottle and he said, "You've got to try this Starlight," it is absolutely the most amazing thing last year that you'll try. I was skeptical because I like Starlight. I love everything they do, but I was like, yeah, it's a bold statement, Andy. We've tried a lot of Starlight, and dang if it wasn't amazing and didn't fall on our top 10 list because of it. Tell us a little bit about Starlight. This is last year's expression, but what do you remember about it, and what can you tell us about it?
Well, so as you said, they're getting a real name for themselves for doing some cool and unique barrel finishes. But when we went in, we realized sometimes we'll snag one of those off the beaten path finishes, like the slow gin finish that you all have from Spirit Works. But with Starlight, when we went in, we realized that how we could actually add value is highlighting just the underlying whiskey. So we did straight bourbon, straight rye, really pretty. To us, it highlights how well they do even without a finish. Because sometimes places will do many finishes because they need to cover something up. Starlight does not. And so we felt like saying, hey, let's just focus on this would be actually adding to the conversation, because a lot of places, all they get are the finished casks.
Sure.
So unlike what we do in other contexts, it was fun to just be like, this is really legit bourbon.
I think that's awesome too, because honestly, we had them on, great people, good wine too, by the way. But I think because they do finished whiskey so well, it's stuck with you. Like that's your label is, hey, they finished whiskey really well. So to have their expressions non-finished and showcase that, I think it just elevates them as a distillery in whole, because they're like, hey, look, we don't have to finish it to mask anything. We do really good whiskey up front. It's just we also do finishing really well. So I think that was great that you guys did.
Do we know what the age statement was? What was the age statement on this? I mean, they're not usually high age statements, right?
Yeah, this is a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
And I even know the mash bill because I put it on the label. So 60% corn, 20% barley, 10% rye, 10% wheat. Because in case anyone can't tell, which I think you can, we put everything distillery right under our name. And
age for 4 years. I didn't.
Details on the back.
Yeah, you have that too. Age 4 years. Yep, I didn't get down there. Yep, there you go. 50 gram barrel. Nice. So I haven't had this, Andy, since last year. So this is exciting for me.
It's very good.
That's again the beauty of it, because I think Starlight, for us at least, the last 2 years, you exploded. Everyone's doing picks of Starlights and finishes, and you kind of miss sort of just the straight bourbon whiskey that they do.
There's a question from Joe. Nora and Adam, any Traverse City in the works?
We visited them a couple years ago, actually, and have not done a Michigan whiskey yet, and are probably overdue for one. So probably should revisit.
Nice.
Let us know when you're going. I love Chris Fredrickson. He's a good guy. We'll go up and we'll hang out. And
Andy loves Traverse. He wants to. I think Andy, you just want to go to Michigan. That's what I mean, and also Traverse City. But you want to go to Michigan.
Yeah, I do. But what else? There's something else in Traverse City. There's
I don't know.
Who's Amy Smart married to? That guy on TV that flips the houses?
I don't.
Do you know who I'm talking about? Have you guys seen that?
No, they don't watch that.
I did.
There are like 100 shows of people flipping houses.
Thank you, Adam. Exactly.
It's true.
It's not why I want to go to. You're going to Traverse City because
there's all kinds of cool stuff.
Where's
there.
Tim Corney? Awesome. Tim Corney, if he's in the chat, he's from Michigan. He can tell us.
I just get excited to go to new places. Whatever.
Wow. So this Lost Lantern Starlight is 116 proof.
Did you pour me any?
I poured myself some. You want to rinse out your? Let me rinse out that glass. Good.
Great. Did you break it? Oh my goodness. All right, so let's switch questions real quick here.
Yeah,
all right,
as we get
so
settled here.
We also do music on this channel. Tell us, give us a concert that you'd love to go to.
Oh, that you
haven't seen yet.
Oh,
okay, an artist that you haven't seen yet that you would love to go see, or you wish you had seen. It could have been Elvis, like, because he's not here. Anyone that you want to go see that you haven't, or that you would love to go see, alive or dead, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it helps that we're in Vermont. I mean, we lived in New York City for a number of years, but in Vermont, no one comes to Vermont, so it's very easy to pick someone that we haven't seen.
Oh, poor Vermont.
And I'm a big Phoebe Bridgers person, and so I would love to see Boy Genius in concert.
Boy Genius. There you go, Andy.
Okay.
All right, Adam, you?
I'm very sad that all of my friends, when I lived in New York, went to one of the very last Leonard Cohen concerts before he died. And
nice.
I was out of town and didn't get to go.
So it's sort of, yeah.
We have that story.
We have that same story. So, again, we're big 80s fans. Okay. So, not that we had the opportunity to see Tom Petty at the Baltimore Arena. My brother called and said, I got tickets. You want to come? And we're like, nah, we'll see him the next time.
2 months
he
later.
Died 2 months later.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we missed seeing our chance to see Tom Petty. For me, though, it'd be Queen. I would love to see Freddie Mercury ever grace the stage. just to see the greatness that is him. And I say that people on our chat are probably tired of hearing the story, but I say that anyway because I'm a huge Queen fan. I love everything about Freddie Mercury and what he was. And gosh, I wish he was still around. That's mine. Andy, what's yours? What's the one? He loves Def Leppard, by the way. If you ever want to see a Def Leppard fan, this guy right here is the ultimate Def Leppard fan.
No, it's a little. I've seen him 30 times.
Really
Not that much. Yeah. So
30 times anyway. So but you've seen them. So who have you not seen that I don't think you ever answered this question.
I told you I'd love to see the Eagles back. In
Oh,
their
the
prime.
Eagles. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. There it is. All right, so there it is.
One of my good friends in Vermont, who I met when I got an MBA here in Vermont during the pandemic, has worked for many years as a roadie for big rock bands. He's been doing their like audio engineering. He just got back from the Bruce Springsteen European tour.
Oh, gosh, the boss.
Months ago.
That's
done
awesome.
The Eagles. I think he's done Def Leppard. He did Taylor Swift, another hard rock.
Oh my goodness! My gosh!
So he's been all over the place.
What a cool guy that is. Maybe we need to get him on the show, Andy. Talk about
Like
some
a cool
stories.
job.
Also loves drinking Lost Lantern. Just that plug.
But who doesn't, though, right? I mean, come on. Let's be honest here.
That's awesome.
So let me ask you this: you guys have opened up where you're at right now. Tell us. We didn't talk about this, but you guys are in your.
Todd, where's it located?
It's in Vermont.
Where?
20 miles south of Burlington. Just a 30 miles
What's
south
the
of
name
Burlington.
of the city?
Andy, you said it so eloquently. Why don't you say it again? But this is relatively new for you guys. We have a place that we can come visit you guys and get all your expressions. You have a tasting bar. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, I mean, so from a product, it really was. We did all of this because we needed our own space production-wise. Before, we'd been working with distilleries in Vermont who were great, but they are growing and we're growing, and especially as we start doing more blending, we wanted to be a little bit more hands-on with what we were doing. So we needed to get a production space, and we ended up taking over a space that used to have a cidery in it, and they had a tasting room already built out. So then we went, well, we should probably open our tasting room. And we opened that only a month ago, but it's been really fun to have open. And the extra fun thing is for almost all of our releases, we saved about a case of everything. And so things that have been long sold out online are by and large available in our tasting room and our tasting room only. So it's a fun thing and a nice draw for people to make their way here.
I think the great thing is you have a great social media, your Instagram as well. I think you mentioned when you opened, you said you had every Lost Lantern expression that was going to be there, right? I don't know if it's still that way, but you had everything you had put out. I think
since 2021, when we bottled briefly in Virginia, and we unfortunately, because Vermont is a control state, we can't sell the stuff that was bottled there, but everything that was bottled in Vermont, we have. You have. Okay, there you go. And
Perfect.
It is.
We even have, that's why a lot of the bottles I'm pouring have little spouts on them, because the Starlight Bourbon is in our bourbon flight.
There it is.
Nice.
Still Austin is in our intro to whiskey flight. It's often the first thing that people taste when they come in here.
Beautiful.
And even the Brooklyn 8-year-old malted whiskey is in our fan favorites flight, which we're going to rename our high octane flight because everything's like 135.
Nice.
That is great.
People off.
Yeah.
That's great.
And Todd, you haven't tried this.
I haven't tried this. I haven't tried the Brooklyn or the Westward. I'm a big Westward fan. Yeah, let's get into that.
8-year-old malted wheat whiskey.
Let's go.
It is really good. Yeah.
What is it? Old Dominic's. What is that? I love Fueling Station. I love that wheated whiskey. And you want to get in that next after we get started?
Yeah. Let me finish this first.
They can talk about it while
they can talk about it. Yeah. Well,
so let's talk about that. Again, I've never tried anything from Brooklyn Distilling. Where are they out of? How did you find them? What about this bottle? Tell us.
They're from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
All right. That's an old spelling of Brooklyn, in fact, which is.
I would never have known that.
Yeah.
Old wooden ship.
There you go.
A name for the old Dutch village that turned into the largest and most diverse county in the country.
Nice. Very cool.
Very cool. Just in Brooklyn 2 weeks ago.
You were. You didn't go to the distillery, Andy. You didn't even know about it.
Only so much time.
Next time.
My friend.
Next time. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I mean, we both lived in New York City for a number of years. I was there for almost 15, and you were there for almost a decade. And so this is a distillery that we got to know of. We didn't know them personally. At least I did. You knew Brett a little bit.
Yeah.
Before we started Lost Lantern, but it was one that was on our short list when we started Lost Lantern. But we didn't know about this whiskey. This was not something that we knew to ask for. So yeah.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Such a cool profile on this. It really is unique.
When did this come out, guys? Let me understand this because I didn't see this one. So when did this come out?
This was last fall.
Fall. So over a year. It's been a year. Okay.
Yeah,
all right. You've been hiding this
we
from
still
me.
have it in the tasting room, but nowhere else.
Long sold out everywhere else.
Oh, Andy, you've got a little bit of a unicorn here, Andrew.
That's right, I do.
Well, let me drink some of that unicorn.
The fun thing about this one is we had never tasted a malted wheat whiskey before. I don't think anyone who bought it had ever tasted a malted wheat whiskey before.
Okay, yeah.
An 8-year-old, like a wheat whiskey that looks like this.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. Yes. Good Lord. God, yes.
The color is insane.
Isn't it?
People tried it, and we thought it was going to be online on our site for a long time. But we were like, this is one of the best whiskeys we've tried all year. We just need to put this out. That's the point of being an independent bottler.
Right.
But people trusted us, and some people tried it, and then they told their friends, and then suddenly, like 2 or 3 weeks after we launched it, it was gone. And despite being
this is bottle number 2.
That's number 2.
This is bottle 2.
Look at that.
First one is in the recycling bin somewhere long ago.
Oh, that's your second bottle.
It's the second one.
Oh,
it's really good.
So you really have been holding out on me.
Yeah, I didn't share those.
He didn't share this with me.
No, I did not.
He didn't do that, guys. He didn't share that. This is my first sips of it, so let's get into it. It's so rich on the nose. A wheat, 100% malted wheat. So when you think of malted wheat, when you're brewing, Andy, we do malted wheat, but not as a 100%. We wouldn't probably do. Well, I guess you could. Interesting. All right. So on the nose, man,
this is the kind of distillery that hears, I guess you could, and then decides, well, then I guess we should.
Yeah, I like that.
We should.
A little innovation there. That's really good. It's fabulous.
I saw in the chat, Jeremy Freedom Malts also is a fan of this one. So
who said that? I missed it. How did I miss it, Andy? How did you miss that? Jeremy, where is he?
Freedom Malts was a minute or 2 ago.
Come on, Andy. You got to be up with the chat here, Andrew.
Oh, there we go. Yep.
Whoa. So I also get some coffee notes to this as well. I get some on the finish. It's very roasty to me, which is interesting. I like that a lot. And you're still drinking the Starlight, aren't you?
you're moving.
Come on, Andrew. Hey, we've got
shaking. I'm trying to catch
Freedom
up
Malts.
here.
There we go. There's Freedom Malts. See, Andy, you missed Freedom Malts. I love the fact that
I don't know how you can talk this much and drink this fast all at the same time.
It's very easy.
I am amazed.
Obviously, look at me. It's very easy. It's very easy. You know, I didn't see his.
Now we've known each other since kindergarten.
That's true.
We go back.
So you guys are a married couple. We're kind of like a married couple. We actually are. We really are.
My wife at home, I will tell you right now.
So does my wife.
Todd's the reason why I think polygamy doesn't work. There's just.
And listen, we've known each other since kindergarten. We're there are 47 years, so we've known each other for 42 years, and we're best friends. And similar to you, that's how things work, right? It's a good partnership right there.
But you guys didn't start off this together, married, did you?
No, but we were.
It was going in that direction.
Okay.
Once you decide you're going to start a business together, like you're already dating, like we got engaged on our road trip, which was to start Lost
awesome.
So.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So I just started reading some of the comments.
Oh, and touch the. No, man. Wow. I get. It's so dark and rich. Are you gonna try? Have you tried this? This is your second bottle.
I'm getting there, buddy.
It's like good. I'm trying to get. It's a very interesting nose, and then you drink it. What's the proof on that? It's got such a great finish.
139.
Holy sheesh, a whiz.
It's sneaky.
I would not have said
Slow
that.
your roll, little fella.
139. Holy moly! Did not know that. I took way too big of a pour. I did not know that. It didn't. It doesn't taste 139. I would have guessed probably like 116. Wow, 120 maybe. But that's so. I maybe even get like a dark, not dark, like a banana, like a ripe banana a little bit. So and chocolate and coffee and just goodness. Dark, deep, rich. Everything about that.
I put chocolate banana bread on the tasting notes on the back of the label, so I got that too.
I think the
God.
cranberry tea cake came from me.
Let me do a little pour here, buddy boy.
That makes sense. 'Cause I don't know what that is.
Nora, what did you say? What did you get? What do you get out of it?
Oh, I get like a cranberry tea cakey thing.
Cake, yeah, I can totally get cranberry. I don't like cranberries, but I mean, I not that I don't like it. I don't eat cranberry sauce.
Terrible band.
What did you say?
I didn't like the band.
Oh, Andy doesn't like the band Cranberries. He hates the band Cranberries.
Well, he makes a cranberry gingerbread this time of year that is very much.
That's probably pretty good.
That's probably really good. Eat some of that and drink some of that, and you're like in heaven. I mean, geez Louise. I mean, there's the perfect combination. Wow. There you go.
This nose is so fun though.
I know, right?
It's just very unique, and that's
it's one
of the things too. Like when you do releases and you do a really good job of previewing what's coming. So for those of you watching now, hop on Lost Lantern's website. They're going to preview all of the releases that are coming out tomorrow. Plus, they're going to have whatever's left available.
Cheers,
that
John.
you can purchase, and they've got some really cool things. This is why I had not heard of Brooklyn before, and then I was like, but you know what? I'm intrigued by an 8-year-old malted wheat whiskey, so I grabbed it. Same thing with I already had the Spirit Works bourbon, but I said, wait a minute, rye whiskey finished in slow gin cask. Like, okay, I got to try that, and you should try this next, dude. It's really good. We might as well just get. Well, you're on a roll.
We said we weren't going to go through all of them, and we're like 6 in, so might as well go through them all.
Yeah.
Oh, and you need to try this.
I haven't tried that yet, so I'm trying them all tonight.
This
is
the one. This is finished in Chardonnay cask. Okay, so I didn't think the Chardonnay cask was going to work. I bought this blind.
Look how dark that is. That's in Chardonnay cask.
And this was.
Look at this.
This is phenomenal. Like it's really good.
Oh, yeah, you guys have drank a lot more than us.
Yeah.
Andy, I haven't tried that either. I love Westward Whiskey. There was Count Chocula. It was finished in stout cask. A single barrel pick that was finished in stout cask that I absolutely love. Let's not get there yet, but
you're all over the place.
Well, you brought it up.
I'm just telling. The reason was
okay.
People out there need to go on to Los Lantern's website and just read through the descriptions, because it's not like just going and saying what bourbon do I want tonight, what rye do I want. There's so many unique offerings with a story behind it, and it's told really well before you even buy it. That's what I really like. So go on there, do your homework, research a little bit, and I'm pretty confident you'll come away with a bottle that you're like, wow, that's great.
Let me ask this question just as we move on tonight, real quick. So you guys are, Adam, you came from, I think, Whiskey Advocate, right? And Nora, you were you were also in wine, and you both were in the industry. If you guys were not in the spirits industry, what would you be doing? What would be your dream job? What would be your dream job?
I feel like my answer is really lame. So I like building things. I like building companies. That's why I run the company and he travels and finds all the cool whiskey. We pick all the whiskey together, but I like building process. And so I'd probably be working with early stage companies and building for the first 2 years and then just handing them off and moving on. That's my jam.
You wouldn't be touring as a bluegrass musician?
Come on now.
I mean, I did play violin for 10 years, but
there you go.
But I played classical violin, so not fiddle.
That's impressive.
I agree.
I would love to work in land conservation, helping to preserve land from and restore forests. But my previous job before I was a whiskey journalist, which was also pretty good, which was being a video games journalist. And I had
that's awesome.
a year and a half of overlap where I got basically all of my video games and most of my whiskey sent to me as press samples. So that was a fun time.
Adam's just living life. I mean, his wife is in the I wish my wife was in the whiskey. Gosh, you guys have it so good, man. Am I wrong in that, Andy?
I have 2 spouses, you and
true.
my wife.
That's
I don't
true.
need any more. I'm fine.
It's true. You are right.
I'm pretty well stocked. I'm not going to lie to you.
He's got me and he's got his wife. I mean, it's all good.
What more could I ask
There you
for?
go. Wow. All right. There you go.
It's the season to be merry.
So I wish Whiskey Uncensored was here because he probably knows of Brooklyn Distilling. He's the one who got me into Kings County. So I'm super excited for tomorrow and all the other things. So Brew Colin, I've never had. They're not, distributed here. That's the beauty of Lost Lantern. They can expose you to distilleries and expressions that you've never experienced before. And that's.
So here's a question for you. We always like to do this. If you're sitting around and there's no Lost Lantern bottles near you,
oh, that's a good question.
And you are out at a bar and you need to get a pour, what's your go-to? Like what whiskey do you like to sip on that's not your own? What do you like to sip on?
I'll extend that and say not our own and not one of our partners either, because that would also be kind of cheating. But I would usually go for either a Wild Turkey 101 or a Lefroy.
Or like Russell. I mean, Russell's Reserve, like the whole Wild Turkey, like that for us.
Yep.
That's
someone's fancy.
We're a Wild Turkey household when it comes to like Kentucky bourbon, and your Lefroy. I mean, we drink some Scotch, but for me, I love Bruichladdich for Scotch.
Would there ever be an expression from maybe not like from like a Lost Lantern like Scotch, like from actual Scotch?
We're not going to say no, but we would want to buy in the same way that we buy here. So not working with brokers, working directly with distilleries. So that is an uphill battle in the short term. But I think once we really establish ourselves in the U.S., it might be something that we could do in the long term. But nothing in the works.
And we want to have something of value to add, which would also apply to working with other spirits in the U.S. or other whiskey countries around the world. Like if we can do it like this, where we put their name right on it, and can help people discover things that they don't know about or assign to a place they don't think about, we would love to do it. If we're like, here's a Wild Turkey that costs 8 times as much and is just like Wild Turkey, it's cool. It would be kind of fun. I would probably be like, maybe we should do it just once, but it doesn't add value.
Would you ever do something like a Wild Turkey? I mean, you guys, that's a huge, would you ever do a Lost Lantern Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit? I mean, would you ever do that?
If we could do it like the way we do everything else.
Okay.
I think that's the kicker, right?
Yeah. Talk about it just the exact same way? Probably, if it worked, but we'll see. You never know.
That would sell out
Anthony,
so quickly.
Anthony, I think he's asked twice about Spirits of French Lick, which we have an offer from them too. There's another one as well done. I'm sure all these people, the nice thing about what you guys do is everyone's going to throw out their favorite distilleries.
Yes.
So like, hey, have you worked with them? Have you worked with them? And that's kind of the fun part too, is like, hey, there's a lot of good stuff out there that, you probably already know about, but maybe there's some places you haven't been exposed to, which is kind of fun. So
I mean, every once in a while we pay attention to those kind of comments, and every once in a while we're like, oh, I guess people really want that, or I've never heard of them and I need to visit them soon.
Well, I'm excited that you were supposed to talk to Old Line, because that's super exciting.
Lost Lantern Daft Mill, yes, please. There you go. So
we have visited, or I have visited, Spirits of French Lick. That is in such a weird town. It has like the 19th century version, like German American immigrant version of the Thunderdome in town. It's like a strange old palace. We'll probably work with them at some point. Someone asked about Wyoming as well, which is a super cool distillery. That was way back. And that was actually where we met Nancy Fraley for the first time. We happened to be out there the same time she was. Stayed in the Best Western together.
Is that where you stay?
What was that, like 28 miles away? Because there's nothing next to Kirby.
That was the only place,
But you know what? Being able to be in the same hotel room in the middle of nowhere with Nancy Fraley is pretty cool, right? I mean, that's pretty cool.
There's a giant hot spring in the center of the hotel that just stank of sulfur.
Oh, jeez.
That's what made that town famous by Wyoming standards. And it affected my palate, I felt.
So that's why we don't have a Wyoming whiskey Lost Lantern. Is that what that's what it is? Okay, I got you.
Not yet, anyway.
There you go.
Well, let me ask you a question, because I've always thought about this. And I believe I read this somewhere years ago, but you're very particular when you go in, which I think is really cool. But you're also not afraid to say no. Like, look, this isn't going to work right now. Like, this isn't this. Like, thank you, but not for us right now. Which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
I also think it's bold for someone who is. You guys are, especially when you're just starting off. So what's that like? The two of you walking into a distillery for the first time. You haven't picked anything else yet. And like, we're Lost Lantern. We want your best, or we're walking out of here with nothing. Like, how do you do that?
How do you say no? How do you say no?
Reception from the distillery on the other end when you guys are having these conversations? I was just so intrigued by this idea.
Yeah, it's probably my least favorite thing to do in the job, besides filing my expense reports on time. But sometimes you have to do it because we, like you said, we want to showcase the world of craft whiskey as a whole in a way that's really positive, and also that makes that distillery look really good. And if we don't think those particular selections can do that, we have to walk away. Like, at least one of the places that people have asked me about is a place that we have gotten samples from, went through our selection process, and ultimately decided not to move forward with at that time. But we then come back a year or two later.
Right.
We've had 2 distilleries now that we said no to the first round and have now bought from. It's
And release things.
and release things from them. Part of the issue can be also that we both have to say yes to everything.
Ooh, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
And there are times when we both go, oh my God, there's one thing that we have to buy, and they're different barrels, and we cannot agree. And then he has to go back to the distillery and say, we love your whiskey, but we can't agree.
On which barrel? Wow. So how often does that happen where you guys, we have different palates, right? Everybody has different palates.
Yeah.
How do you then combine that to say, so you've actually been in the position where you've liked one barrel, you like the other, you can't agree, and you said no.
Yep.
Wow.
And that can be very frustrating. Like when we come out of a blind tasting and we're both like, well, there's one that's obviously the best one and one that's obviously the worst one, and ours are like completely inverted.
Yeah. We've been playing with one distillery the last week where our palates we agree on one barrel, which is great, but we really wanted to buy multiples, and we cannot agree on barrel 2 and 3. So
that's amazing. So wow. So how often does that happen?
It is maybe like a quarter to a fifth of the time.
Like so significant then. It's not insignificant. Yeah.
And sometimes we'll just taste 12 times until we agree. We've gotten up to 12. Often, actually, the issue with those is that we like too much and we can't afford all of them. And so generally it means that like we have 12 samples and we love 7 of them, and it doesn't work. But we'll keep tasting and tasting and tasting until it's just like, we're tasting this the same way every time. Nothing is shifting. It's not something about what I ate. It's not about the time of day. It's just not something that I feel comfortable saying yes to, or you feel comfortable saying.
Well, I think that leads to how the quality of when you put out a bottle, it's you stand behind it. Both of you are behind it, and I think that's shows how, that's why we buy what you guys put out. So that's the cool thing about that. You say no, even if you're one of you is saying yes, it has to be both of you.
Yep.
That's the interesting thing. Right, Andy?
No, I think it's great.
So when I say yes and you say no, we're screwed. We're screwed. We haven't gotten that yet. We haven't done many, but we're in trouble. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Do you have the Westford Shard still?
Oh, what are we doing, Andy? You just poured me a little bit of something.
Yeah, there we go. See,
Andy just poured me the Spirit Works distillery.
Nice.
He did
the slow gin.
This slow gin. I don't know why he just switched over. Not that I want to try this Westward, but
that's next, Todd. You're right.
All right, so he wants to end with the Westward. He wants to try this Spirit Works distillery. This is the California Straight Rye whiskey, finished in slow gin cask. Adam, Nora, tell us about this one, because yes, why not? Aged, this is 100. Good Lord, 113 proof.
You want to talk us through this one?
When we ask for barrel samples, we always ask the distilleries to send, if they have anything, any samples of casks that their distilling team is really excited about, but we wouldn't know to ask for.
Right.
Like a slow gin finished rye.
Yeah.
So for this is they make slow gin in-house. And they even do a barrel-aged slow gin. And so someone on their team had the brilliant idea of popping the straight rye whiskey into a slow gin cask. And it is like no other whiskey that we have ever had, that we will ever put out. We love bringing this to whiskey festivals because
it's crazy fun.
Well, you could smell the juniper on the nose.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it smells like a gin. I mean, it's like, what?
It's
that
a
juniper
gin whiskey cross. Yeah.
What?
I just poured this at a festival in Seattle 2 weeks ago, so I got a bunch of practice explaining to people what slow gin was. So I'm going to make more of it instead. So would you explain to people what slow gin is?
Absolutely not. No. Now you said that you have practice.
Exactly. You do. You haven't practiced because we haven't talked about it in a
It sounds like us now. All of a
Yeah, it
sudden.
sounds like
That
us.
sounds perfect.
You guys are like you
Tom,
guys are
what
us.
town in Vermont are they in again?
25 miles south of Burlington. We're gonna be there.
Go.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. I get a lot of vanilla on this too, though. The juniper there as well, but I get vanilla at big time.
Well, hold on, Tom. We're about to get a lesson in slow gin.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I've drank it already.
So slow gin, for those who don't know, which I'm guessing is a lot of people because you don't see it much anymore, is gin that's infused or otherwise flavored with slow berries, which are a weird kind of English berry that kind of tastes like a red currant or a blackberry cross. So it's basically a quite fruity.
It's a liqueur, effectively.
Yeah,
Gin-based liqueur with slow berries. And
I
yes,
never knew slow was a berry. I never
No.
knew that in my life.
Yeah.
That is okay. There you go.
You learn something every
Oh,
day.
the only thing I knew was from the arts was slow gin fizzy. That's the only thing I knew. All right.
I love it.
Someone
Andrew.
asked if there are still bottles, and I think there's less than 6 still available.
Where would that be?
Guys,
on your
sell
website?
this
On our
puppy out.
website.
Sell
Come
it
on,
out
go to your
tonight.
website.
Go get it now. It's so good.
It's so unique too. I mean, you get like the sort of the vanilla. Hold on.
Sell the slow gin tonight. This is good stuff. Go on the website and grab it. How good
It's
is
our
that?
favorite thing when someone tells us that they've had everything.
How
We
good is
pop
that?
bottle on the table and we
Jeez
say, no,
Louise.
you have not.
The finish on this again. You have a lot of great expressions that the finishes are really where it comes in. This is another one right here.
Go get it, Joe. It's available right there.
Dude, this is fucking. Oh. Yeah,
It's
I
really
get
good.
vanilla. Yeah,
It's
juniper.
super good.
Yeah, there's a lot of fruit forward, but the spice there on the finish, I absolutely love. It drinks actually bigger than the proof. I think it's 112 or 113. I mean, to me
That's just is a, and this sounds cliche. What a fun whiskey!
Yes, there's a lot going on.
This
here.
is like a conversation starter. To like, yeah, let's get started with this one. Just pass because it's
Well,
really
it smells like juniper. I mean, the junipers are, and you can tell it's gin.
Yeah.
Which
Can you smell the slow berries?
no, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I still don't know what that is. It smells
They're
fantastic.
Kind of plummy. It's like
Plummy? Okay.
lemon
Yep.
cherry. Is my
There's nothing off-putting about that. There's a great spice finish to it as well. Yeah, that's. When did you get this? You're holding out on me, Andy.
I don't share everything.
No, I come over to his house and it's like I have to do a review every. I do.
He comes over my house to raid my stash.
I
So
do.
There's certain things
I do
that
I do
hide
a
from him.
short review every day of a whiskey. Every day on our channel, a short. And I come to his house because he's got a lot more than me. He's got a lot. Don't tell your wife.
She knows, but go ahead and keep going.
You haven't given me one Lost Lantern. I think it's because you're hoarding it.
Here's the problem: when he likes something,
I don't give it back.
he will give it back with like a quarter of the
That's
bottle
true.
left.
That's true. That's true.
And
So,
he'll be like,
consider that as a
I
compliment.
was just sipping on it. And the next thing you know, I
That's
look, I
true.
was like, what the hell happened to my bottle?
That is true.
So
That is
when I
true.
have things like this, that I know I'm not going to be able to
all
jump
right.
back online and grab
So
one.
you can leave these all here. I haven't done any of these shorts, by the
Well,
way.
that's-
Although they're gone now, though, so that stinks. Well, not some of these.
But
Some of
go
them are
to Richie Z posted again. Go to Los Angeles.
There it
Whiskey.
is.
Pick
There
up
it
the
is.
slow gin. This finish. This
Oh.
is fantastic.
Well, I also is the Brooklyn that's gone, right? The Brooklyn's gone.
Yeah, that's gone.
Yeah.
Well,
And that's my
gone.
second bottle,
That's
so you're not having that either.
So the only thing that we've tried tonight that's still around is this slow gin.
Well, except that you can buy all of them here at the tasting room.
Oh,
there you go.
And
And all you have to do is go out to
Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Vermont. What's the name of that town, Todd?
25 miles south of Burlington, Andy.
Yeah. Well, and the westward, which you will taste next, is
Yes.
we still have that.
Oh, so there you go, Andy.
Yeah.
We're finishing with Westward.
This is a great question from Anthony Peters, by the way. Do you have a cutoff line where a distillery is just too big to be considered for Lost Lantern? Like, do you walk in and you say, you know what, I'm just not going to work with this. It's Sazerac, Buffalo Trace, whatever. You're just like, it's too big. I'm not doing it.
Has anyone ever said, Buffalo Trace? Yeah, I don't want to work with that.
You guys want to hear? You want to hear a very funny story about Sazerac?
Of course.
I haven't actually told on our channel.
Yeah, you're going to because you drink a lot. Go ahead.
So I've played soccer all of my life. I played in college, and when I was 12 years old, I was on a soccer team called the Linthicum Blazers. And my one friend who saw us doing these videos of whiskey, who was on that team, said, "Hey, I saw you're doing whiskey stuff. You know, Jake, our old teammate, is now the CEO of Sazerac. Here's his email and phone number." Not kidding you. This is like 3 weeks ago. Jake.
Wow.
He is the CEO of Sazerac. We've talked to him. So hey, Jake. If you need, I can put a good word in for you. I don't know if you want to do something.
Tell him put it up on a T for you.
He's like,
all you gotta do is swing.
I sent him the picture. I have a picture of us. I have Jake when he was like 12 years old, by the way. I have a picture of it.
I love it.
I sent it to him and he said, oh my God, I forgot I was on that team. Yes, I remember you. Here's our national brand ambassador. Talk to him or her. I don't know who it was. And so we're working with them. But that's the funny thing about this. Like, my old soccer player is now the CEO of Sazerac. What?
Cool.
What?
Small world, man. Yeah.
Small world.
Like when we went to Tom's Foolery, I found out that the co-founders of that went to the same college that I did, but 12 years earlier.
What?
Yeah.
There you go.
And
for
what did you just pour me?
For what it's worth, we don't have a cutoff for size. It's mostly we want to work with them directly, and we want to be able to put their name on the bottle and tell the story the same way.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be biased against someone who's big as long as there's a story there and the expression is correct, right? So you would do the same thing you did for a Corbin Cash or Still Austin that you would do for a Buffalo Trace.
Yep.
Right.
Or a Sazerac, whatever it is.
Is there concern
or Wild Turkey
because of the size of Lost Lantern? They may not be giving you what you want access to.
No.
Maybe. Yeah, certainly. I mean, we just haven't. We started with small distilleries because we felt like that was an easy place for us to add value. Because
I love that too.
Yeah, I do too.
I think it's great.
We can sift through it. We already knew a bunch of people in the industry and had a short list and knew enough about there being enough great whiskey that was very regionally focused. So it felt like that was a great starting point. We try not to set hard lines. We're not about to release something for Buffalo Trace or Sazerac, just like to be clear.
Well, hold on. I got the CEO's email and phone number. I'll give it to you guys.
He played soccer with them 40 years
He doesn't know who
ago.
we are, but he might know who you are. So let's work with this, guys. Let's work with this, guys. Come on.
You never know.
The biggest place that we've worked with so far is New Riff in Kentucky.
Okay.
Yeah, they're good too.
Yes.
Which is like big by the standards of most places we work with, like 4 or 5 times the size of many of our partners, but is still like maybe 5 or 10% the size of Maker's Mark, if even that.
Yeah.
But they're doing many thousands of barrels a year. And there are others that will be better like that. But yeah, no hard cutoff. And there are some places we work with that only make like 30 to 50.
I think that's cool that you're open to even working with really some of the big, because some of the big guys like Turkey gets Matthew McConaughey to go out and do Longbeard. So like they have these gigantic. There's just endless amounts of money and things thrown around. So I love that you guys are spotlighting the little guy that's competing with him. To just kind of like just for that little small footprint in America to say, hey, we're making some good stuff too, which I think is really cool. Yeah. Not that you can't work with the bigger ones, because props to them. They had to get bigger by working hard anyway. As
we're wrapping up, and we'll get into the last expression, but let me ask you guys this. Moving forward, what's the hope and future for Lost Lantern?
Well, here's a question to go with it.
Okay, go ahead.
Are you exclusively going to be about whiskey, or are you considering any other spirits? And especially, Nora, you have that background in other spirits too, as you kind of did that foray from wine into spirits and then going exclusively into whiskey. Are you any thought to ever doing something else under the Lost Lantern name?
I mean, it's a long-term thing that we've talked about for a long time, but I think for us, we have to build up our expertise in American rum, and we know more about brandy, and it's something that we both love to drink. All of you need to go buy brandy, so there's an actual market that we can tap into, because we need to do that before. But I think for us, our expertise is primarily in whiskey. So before we move into another spirit, not saying we're not going to do it, we would love to do it if and when we grow big enough to be able to do that. But for now, we're focusing where we have real expertise.
Got it.
All right, that's fair enough. Tell us a little bit about this one. I'm so excited to try this one. I think, Adam, you were about to tee this up before I did the slow gin. So this is the Westward in Chardonnay cask. I have had some wine finished whiskeys before that just did not work. This one worked. So,
oh God, that nose. Oh, that's Westward whiskey. Yep. You
want to tee this one up?
Shoo.
Not you.
No,
Adam or Nora.
I'm just getting into it. Wow.
Yeah, it's this one. We love Westward whiskey. For us, what I personally like, this is one of my kind of championed picks that we've done. I love that Westward whiskey has this orchard fruit that they do, but I like that this moves more towards like pears and yellow orchard fruit.
God, that nose is I need a car refreshener of this in my car. That's what I want right there. That's what I want.
Yeah.
No, the pitted fruit's all over this. You're right.
I also get some chocolate notes on the nose, though. I get some chocolate notes.
There's the maltiness that comes from Westward whiskey. Is known for those malt forward kind of like offerings. But yeah,
good Lord, that's divine right there. Whoa, where's that been all my life, Andrew?
I hit that one as well.
God dang. Jeez, when did this come out?
This was last fall too.
Yeah.
Jeez, yeah, he hid last fall's buy that I didn't really know about. Thank you, Andrew. I'm on it now. I know where to go.
It's funny. Spend your own money.
I am. Don't you worry. I will be. I will be. All right. So
we still have this one though.
Yeah, and I think there's a little bit of the port finish still available on sale. Our bourbon did.
Did you say port?
Yeah, Lost Lantern with Westward whiskey port cast single barrel.
Ooh,
I think there are a handful of bottles left.
Andy,
well, I will be buying that when I get offline because I missed that one.
Andy's wife is from Portugal and he loves port wine. Like that's his jam. Like, so Sagamore just did another, like everything that they do with port and anything port, Andy like perks up. So there you go, buddy.
I like that. I like it.
All right, so let's get into
this.
I
have to like it.
What do you guys have for this Westward whiskey? And there's still some left. What do you get from it?
The tasting note wise?
Yeah. I think that's what you were saying. It's like it's the orchard fruit, the flowers, like toasted pecans. And it is like it's so chocolatey and malty.
It's so chocolatey and malty. With those pitted fruits, there is a roastiness on the Oh, that's Westward whiskey. That is so. Yeah, if you ever had
but I think it's interesting because I think
the finish is forever on this.
But the two flavors that you would think don't necessarily work together, boy, you're really chewing the hell out of that, aren't you?
The finish on this the finish on this to me is the best of the night. Wow.
Awesome.
What I like though is like the apple and pear notes,
the roasty chocolate coffee notes from the end.
Strong enough to cut through a little bit of the chocolate notes that come forward too. So I think it's a really good balancing act, which is not very easy to do because chocolate can be very dominant. And so it can kind of overpower those pitted fruit notes, which I think you can really taste the pear and the apple and like those that comes right through just as strong as those chocolate malted notes.
That's coming from the Chardonnay cask, I assume, right? Is that's where you're getting that from?
I think so. Yeah.
So when you guys went out there for this, I mean, or got samples of this,
well, Chardonnay's.
I mean, look at the color on this.
Yeah,
you can't see through it.
I know. This is
Chardonnay's
another one.
Oaky and vanilla too, though. So you're gonna get the
So it's an Oregon single malt, aged for 28 months in new oak cask, and then finished for 20 months in. So it's not like the age statement's not that long on this.
No.
But look at the color.
Yep.
I mean, you can in Oregon. So what's attributing to that? Is that why is that so dark and deep and rich?
I don't know. That's the beauty of oak. We don't really know why.
Look at it.
I just love how much you're enjoying this. You are.
You are. I have not tried this expression,
You're an
Andy.
Excited little fella.
Andy,
this is good.
I've been over your house numerous times over the last half a year, and you've never given me this expression.
And I probably won't again. So I want you to enjoy this.
Never have. Sorry, guys, I couldn't promote how great your stuff is, but because Andy's hoarding it, evidently. There you go. So wonderful job.
This might be my favorite offering, by the way, of the line tonight. As much as I like all these, this is so crazy good and unique.
Let's go into that.
It might
it's just the most unique. Well, it's
just so different, which is for multiple. It's not just Westward because Westward has a profile. It's that Chardonnay finish adds something completely different and changes this whiskey completely in a good way, and I really like it. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, so good. I will say my favorite still is this Lost Lantern. Is this Corbin Cash. I can't tell. Corbin Cash. I'm a big rye guy, but yeah, this is very close. I love the Still Lost, and I love all. There's not a bad expression. So tomorrow night, guys, hold on. If you are on the Lost Lantern email list, you'll get the expression, the email earlier, but when will your fall lineup be out for everyone on Steelbacks to get, or your website?
That's 1 o'clock tomorrow. Steelbox may go live at noon. For our website, the newsletter goes out at noon-ish with a password, and from noon to 1, it's only available to newsletter subscribers. But Steelbox sometimes is at noon and sometimes is at 1 because we don't have control over it.
So it's around the same time. So yeah.
And I think Steelbox isn't sending out their newsletter about it until Thursday.
That's true. Yeah.
Because they have tomorrow. So it will be live tomorrow. Yeah. So it'll be a little secret.
So people get a head start.
So go to your website, sign up for the newsletter, and you'll get the email early than everybody else, and you can get the. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I'm going after. What are you going after, Andy?
Well, none, because since I have all these, you're going to buy the next few lots so I can come over and start drinking yours. So that's a good
point. It doesn't share evidently. So I shared it. I Corbin Cash. Am I still lost?
No, I'll be diving into these. I'm really looking forward to the Flame edition, the Santa Fe.
Kings County for me.
Who was the Arizona partner with? It was
Whiskey Del Bach.
Whiskey Del Bach. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to that because I do think there's a distinct difference between smoke and peat. And I think some people are turned off by.
We are. Well, listen, we are. I don't love peat. I'm not there yet.
But I love the smoky ones. You're not a big smoky guy either. But I love the.
You want to show them where I was 4 years ago?
You're doing it. You are drunk. If you're actually.
So I was a beer guy, guys, for so long.
There's no reason to say anything else. Just let them enjoy it.
And
this is Todd just a couple years ago.
Excellent. Okay, what you guys are all waiting for tonight on our live stream, our members only giveaway is something very special. We are giving away our top 5 whiskeys of 2020 to a lucky winner. Those are going to be the Knob Creek 12-year Select, the Wild Turkey Rare Breed Ride, the Rare Breed Masters Tier 17, the Old Crow Double Barrel 47, and then the Maker's Mark's P90X. All absolutely amazing bourbons that you can't find easily that Andy has. One lucky member will get it. So we can't wait to see you tonight, 8:30 p.m. And we'll have some fun. Cheers. I'm at the beach. That's where the live stream will be.
Oh, no.
That's amazing.
That was me 3 years ago. I didn't know anything about whiskey.
He says, what do you want to give away tonight? And I made some. I knew he liked Rare Breed Rye.
I said
so.
That.
I put one real one in, then started putting other nonsense in, like
3 years
Crow
ago.
Double Barrel 47, which is my favorite. And then
I said that, by the way.
And then I
said P90X.
I said he'll never read P90X.
I said Maker's Mark P90X. I knew there were some like weird numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I was just getting whiskey. I'm sorry.
I love it.
Yeah,
that's how I am. So yes, our viewers have seen that classic. Yes.
So Todd's come a long way. He really has. He's
I love. So here's how I got into whiskey. I was a home brewer. We started drinking beer and commercial beers. They were sending us barrel aged beers, and I was like, Andy, why do we love these barrel aged beers so much? And he's like, I wanted to find out why that is. So you went and got the expressions that it was Knob Creek or it was Heaven Hill. He would bring them in and say, this is what was aged in. So we were starting to drink the first whiskey you brought me was Old Grandin 1.
The Old Grandin 114.
It about killed me. It about killed me. I was a beer drinker all my life. Never had a whiskey expression. This was probably 4 years ago, right? 3 years ago. And now I'm drinking your expression. Listen.
He's getting there every day. He's getting there.
Sorry.
Nora, I got to ask, what kind of wine do you like? What's your go-to wine?
I'm old world palate, so I drink a lot of like Beaujolais. We drink a lot of Gruner Veltliner, Riesling, Chablis.
She didn't say port, Annie. She didn't say port.
Well, port? No, that's different. That's a port.
Port is different. I like port.
Yeah,
but it's not.
And I'm not a port's.
But you're actually he's half Italian, so your wife's port, but you're half Italian.
Yeah. So and I do love meat, especially some Sicilian and like some Southern Italy wines. I really like them because they have so many.
Yeah, we love Sicilian reds especially. So good.
But yeah, so you like the French wine? You like what did you say? Little Austrian wine there you had there, and that's good stuff. Yeah,
there you go.
I told Todd I could do wine all day long if he ever wanted to add wine to the channel.
Dude, I'll drink it.
I got him into whiskey first, so he won't do that.
I'm Ron Burgundy, Andy. I'll drink anything you put in front of me.
He probably will, as long as
I will drink it. Listen, Mark Carter has Carter Vineyards. My wife loves that, and it's really expensive. For Christ's sakes, geez Louise, it's so expensive. But she loves it, and so I'm like,
have you met Mark and Sherry? You probably have met them before. Carter from Old Carter.
No. What?
I haven't.
Only in passing. I've been at a table at an awards dinner with them. But
That makes sense.
They're really nice people. But,
very nice people.
Mark owns he same thing.
Well, I think Sherry does too.
No. But a lot of people get into whiskey after wine first. I don't think your path is alone. I think it's really interesting how a lot of people who really start to kind of dive into the world through wine and leads you into whiskey is an interesting story. So yeah, that's really cool. But they're great. If you see Mark and Sherry Carter, they're fantastic.
I don't think so, Joe Graves. They're not going to do a Goose Island Bourbon County Stout. No, that's not happening. Whatever. We love Bourbon County Stout, but it's not happening.
I mean, I'll drink a Bourbon County Stout.
Yes. Adam, spirit animal. Yes. Yes.
Well, I've got a vertical in my basement going back to like 2015, I think.
Adam, we did a 2010 through 2020 vertical on our channel.
Nice.
We saved them for that long, bought them.
I know what you're watching later.
Yeah.
And it's on our channel. Go to our channel.
We
You'll see.
We don't give you a spoiler alert, but if you're wondering how long beers can age, these guys can go back for a while.
And we got really drunk doing that, by the way. You would never tell by the channel. We got really drunk on that video.
Yeah.
It's not
How
hard
could
to
you
imagine.
not?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's not hard to imagine. But
They just and great year this year too.
Yeah, 2023.
We work with Goose Island. Goose Island sends us. Well, whatever.
You are excited. Look at you.
Well,
Keep drinking. Here, you're fine. You're good to go.
I like it. All the secrets coming out tonight.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anything else
Grab a
that's-
couple more bottles, try some more things, and see what other secrets come out.
We can definitely do that. I have more Lost Lanterns too. I can't wait to get the balconies back because that's a good. But tomorrow I'll definitely be diving in and getting a couple of these. These offerings. I'm excited.
So tomorrow night, guys, one more time. What do we have coming out from Lost Lantern?
So we have Flame and Shadow, a pair of smoked malts, blended malts from multiple distilleries. We really encourage people, if they can, to try both with their friends, and see if they're Team Flame or Team Shadow, Mesquite or Peat. We have a bourbon coming out from Kings County Distillery called Brooklyn Bakery. We have a California single malt distilled from hopped beer from St. George Spirits.
Ooh, I want that too.
Oldest craft distillery in the country.
Called Mountain Meadow.
Mountain Meadow.
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot of
guys.
fun.
So Sealbacks, lostlantern.com. Go there, check it out. Actually, so you have to be on your to get to tomorrow. It's on your.
Sign up for a newsletter. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that goes out. And for anyone that's in California or New York, these will show up in the not so distant future in stores there too, but not for tomorrow.
That's awesome. No, we appreciate it. Last question. Do you guys play music at all?
Not anymore.
I know you said you play a little violin, but
I used to play 5 different instruments at some point, but none of them are current. So we counted recently.
I go by Adam in my professional life. My personal nickname is Apollon, and I have long had a solo act called Rapalon.
Nice.
Rapalon and the Rapalongs. And the entire purpose of which is that I am absolutely terrible at music. I cannot carry a tune. I can't do anything. So it is trash, and it's bad. And all of my friends are wonderful musicians.
Yes.
So they're my backing band. So it's both wonderful and horrible.
That's awesome.
I think me and Adam are just gonna be friends.
Adam, is as bad as you say you were, I bet you I've heard worse. In fact, I'll prove it.
Oh no. Take a bottle, shake it up. I'm not doing that all. You're gonna put that in. I'm stopping before you do that.
See,
that evil laugh.
You definitely heard worse.
Evil laugh.
So don't worry.
He's the editor, and he takes everything. It's God dang.
This is the power of production.
You just had that ready to go, just in case the opportunity arose.
You never know. You never know.
Well, guys, we can't thank you enough for joining us tonight. Andy, how awesome was this?
No, this is great. Honestly, I've been a fanboy for 2 years, and we are hoping to convert more people out there to just turning them on to the Lost Lantern whiskey and what you guys are doing. It's phenomenal. I probably will hopefully in the spring be coming up to Vermont for work.
I mean, come on, Andy.
I'll shoot you guys a message, and so hopefully we can have a sip together if I head up there, because I would love to shake hands and have a pour, and hopefully something that Todd hasn't tried yet, which would be great.
Well,
so that would be fantastic. But you guys are awesome. Keep doing what you're doing, because it's I think it's a much needed thing here in the whiskey world to keep spotlighting some of the distilleries that we don't know yet. So thank you. But anything else you want to say before you guys go? You guys have been awesome guests.
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
you very much.
Thank you so much for having us. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks for the combo.
No,
awesome.
Anytime. We appreciate you guys. And so for those of you still listening, Patreons, thank you.
Yes.
Check us out on Friday night.
Yes,
we'll be going live with
day one of our
Advent calendar. Yeah. And without further ado, I guess that'll be a wrap for tonight. Yeah.
Cheers, guys. We'll see you next Tuesday night with K-Luke.
Yeah. Should we do Todd singing to pull us out one more time?
Come on. Why do we want
just one more?
No.
No.
We'll do one more. Thing. We will see you all next week.
We love you guys. We'll see you next Tuesday.
And you guys rock. Thank you. See you guys
next week.
Guys.
You get me, Mom, Sherry. I want what you got all over me. Isn't my love